Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Laporte, and I am the Cybersecurity Coordinator at the Advanced Institute for Manufacturing. Now that many more of us are working from home than ever before, myself included, it's important that we do everything we can to protect ourselves online. Anytime you are doing business over the internet, you are much more open to attacks than you would be in the safety of your own office. Here are some things to consider when working remotely and some tips that you can use to protect yourself. The first and arguably most important tip I'd like to discuss is the importance of multi-factor authentication. Make sure that multi-factor authentication is enabled on all systems where it is an option. When accessing company information such as email or important files via the internet, you are also providing that information to anyone else who has your login credentials. The best way to protect yourself from someone stealing your login information is to ensure that won't be enough to log in. By enabling multi-factor authentication, you'll be required to enter an additional piece of information besides your username and password. This is most commonly used in the form of a notification code that is sent to your phone that you type in at the time of login. We're all pretty used to this process when we do our online banking in our personal lives, so it's a great idea to turn this on for our email and remote access accounts as well. Now, if you're doing more than just using company emails and are actually remotely connecting to file servers at your company office, you're going to want to make sure that that connection you have is over a VPN, or virtual private network. Establishing a secure VPN will create a secure tunnel between you and the information you're trying to access. This means that you won't have to worry about that information being stolen by someone while it's being sent. And it's also a good way to make sure that if you have some sort of infection on your home network, that it can't transfer over to your systems at the office. If you're confused about whether or not you have the ability to connect via a VPN to company systems, you can consult your IT department or contractor for more information about your specific company setup. While most of the communication we're going to be doing while working at home is going to be via email, it's extremely important that you do not send any sensitive information that way. Email systems were made to provide the easiest way possible to send information. It was not designed to be a secure system. Sending sensitive info via email means that you leave yourself open to having that information stolen by attackers during transmission or after the fact when it's sitting unprotected in a mailbox. If you need to send any sort of sensitive information, such as financial, personal, or proprietary information, you'd be much better off doing so utilizing company servers via a VPN connection or an SFTP server, or through a cloud-based storage service, such as a business Google Drive or Dropbox account. Alright, let's move away from the digital world for a moment to discuss those of us who are still in the office. Even if you're one of the few still at your normal place of business, there's some things you can do to protect yourself from a physical security standpoint. If you're at a reduced number of staff, you may want to consider limiting the access points from the outside into the facility. As we regularly work somewhere, we all get into a routine of going in and out certain exits, but you may want to consider reducing the number of points of entry into the building. The fewer ways in and out of a facility, the fewer places that need to be looked after. If you can manage, try having all employees enter and exit through a single point of entry into the building. A sad fact of reality is that in times of crisis such as this, we all need to be mindful of the increased amount of scams that we will come across. Even though many of us are looking to help each other in any way we can, it's inevitable that others will try to take advantage of the situation. At times like these, you need to be extra aware of the information that you're receiving online and via email. But more importantly, you need to be extremely cautious about the information that people are asking you to share with them. Be wary of unsolicited emails that claim that they're from the government agencies, the CDC, financial offices, anything like that. If you get an email from the Treasury saying that they need your bank account info to process a coronavirus stimulus check, do not give them what they're asking for. You'll also want to consider being cautious when asked for this information from sources that you do know, such as a customer or a coworker. It's possible that their accounts were compromised and that the request isn't genuine. A good rule of thumb is to never provide any financial or personal information via email, just like we discussed earlier. And if you're in doubt of the validity of the message, follow up with a separate contact to the source. Call your coworker on the phone, check in with a customer, log into any accounts that you may have that are asking for more info. Always double check the source whenever you receive this type of request. You can also do a quick Google search for the subject line of the email or the address and check if anyone else has had this kind of request or been targeted by a similar scam. The more research you can do before giving your information away, the better. Let's go ahead and wrap things up by talking about a few general tips and best practices when working from home. You want to make sure that any antivirus software you have at home is up to date. Also, make sure that Windows is up to date and all security patches are installed. You also want to make sure that if you haven't upgraded to Windows 10 at this point, that you do so. Windows 7 is not being patched or secured anymore, so you want to go ahead and make sure that you have upgraded from 7 to 10. And once you have Windows 10 installed, you can easily update your computer by running automatic updates on Windows and making sure that you're regularly restarting your computer once a day, once every other day at most. Also, make sure that all of your work-related devices and accounts have passwords or some sort of security option enabled. For your cell phones, you can turn on things like thumbprint scanning, facial recognition, different options like that. For those accounts that do have passwords, you want to make sure that those passwords are all strong and unique. They should be at least 12 characters long and a mix of numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and special characters. Your passwords should also all be unique. You shouldn't share the same password for multiple accounts. You can help keep track of passwords and generate very, very strong ones via a password manager like LastPass. Finally, make sure that if you have a Wi-Fi network at home, that the encryption option is turned on. You'll want to make sure that either WPA2 or WPA3 encryption is the option that you're using. You can usually access this option via the router setup. This is going to vary based on the model of router you have, but if you need any more information, you can always do research by a quick Google search for your router by the model number or by the brand name, or you can refer to the documentation that came with the router itself. This combined with a strong password to access the network itself will keep off any intruders who might want to target you from sitting on the street and trying to get onto your wireless network. Thank you all for listening to this quick presentation. I hope the information contained within is something that you can all use in the coming days and weeks. If you have any additional questions, please don't be afraid to reach out. You can contact me via AIM's office line, via email, or through the contact form on our website. Good luck to everyone out there and stay safe, both online and in the real world.